You weren't there to travel to Hogwarts as a first-year student. You weren't there to go on an adventure through Middle-earth and cast a ring into a fire. You weren't there with cowboys and Indians in the Wild West. You won't be there in 1,000 years to travel through space. You might not have been there, but it seemed like you were. This is the power of reading. Every book is a whole world to dive into. The purpose of this speech is to persuade my audience to start reading for fun more often. I feel qualified to give this speech because I enjoy reading, and a possible career choice for me in the future is to be a librarian. So I'll be informing you about why people are not reading as much, how this can be fixed, the benefits of reading, and what you yourself can do. So first off, let's look at what is actually happening that is wrong. 33% of U.S. high school graduates will never read a book after high school, according to reading statistics. 42% of college students will never read another book after they graduate, also according to reading statistics. So why aren't people reading as much? One common thing is that it's too time-consuming and they don't have enough time to read. Another thing is they can't find a book that they like or enjoy reading. If you really wanted to read, you could probably find time to read. And if you don't find a book that you enjoy reading, look for another. There's so many different genres. There's fairy tales, humor, historical fiction, horror, mystery, realistic fiction, science fiction, and fantasy. You can probably find something that you like. But one of the really big reasons for why people are not reading for pleasure as much is because of TV and movies. Instead of sitting down with a book, they sit down in front of the screen. You might be wondering, why isn't it okay to watch movies and TVs instead of read a book? Or isn't it kind of the same thing? It's like a story and you'll be learning from it. Well, according to the article, Disturbing Effects of Watching TV, Americans spend an average of 5 hours a day watching TV. But when they're watching, this is mindless watching that requires little or no thinking, according to the Read Aloud Handbook. The handbook also says programs are broken into 8-minute segments, which fosters a short attention span, as well as it stifles the imagination. A study was done of 192 children from LA, and they found that when they heard a story, it produced more imaginative responses than those who saw the same story on the film. Okay, I am going to read you a part from the first Harry Potter book by J.K. Rowling, and if you've already seen the movie, just try not to think about it and just listen to what I'm saying. Something bright white was gleaming on the ground. They inched closer. It was a unicorn, all right, and it was dead. Harry had never seen anything so beautiful and sad. Its long, slender legs were stuck out at odd angles where it had fallen, and its mane was spread pearly white on the dark leaves. Harry had taken one step toward it when a slithering sound made him freeze where he stood. A bush on the edge of the clearing quivered. Then out of the shadows, a hooded figure came crawling across the ground like some stalking beast. Now, let's watch this same scene. Can you see that? Okay. Now, I want you to notice how when I was reading it, you had to think about it and kind of create what you were hearing in your mind. Whereas when you were watching it, it was just kind of like you were just absorbing what you were seeing. Also notice how the words were really descriptive, and it like mentioned a unicorn that was beautiful but broken, whereas in the scene it looks like a dead horse. So we know movies and TV shows are not very beneficial to the brain. So what could the solution be to this? Well, surprise, it would be reading books. So you don't have to stop watching TV shows and movies, but just try to balance out the two. So it's really simple, just start reading. But what are the benefits of reading then? Research done by the University of Sussex in 2009 concluded that regular reading is associated with a 35% reduction in the risk of dementia. Also from the Read Aloud Handbook, it says reading requires and encourages a longer attention span. Reading is also more, quote, neurobiologically demanding than processing images or speech. according to Marianne Wolf, director of the Center for Reading and Language Research. Empathy is also directly related to reading fiction. I read 2 peer-reviewed scientific articles, How Does Fiction Reading Influence Empathy? And Exploring the Link Between Reading Fiction and Empathy. Both came to the conclusion that when you're reading fiction and you become emotionally transported into the story, the reader becomes more empathetic. So you've heard about the benefits and you've seen the difference between reading and watching, so what can you yourself do? My call to action for you is to read a book. You don't have to start now because we have finals coming up, but as soon as you're done, just pick up a book and start reading. And you don't have to stop there, just keep on reading as many books. Thank you.